Recording in
Hello,
progress.
everybody. We are just getting together today to talk about paint mixing to get saturated or bright colors and unsaturated or muted colors. And I'm going to switch my camera here. Okay. Okay, and the exercise that we're going to do today is based on this book, I Just Want to Paint by Carol McIntyre. It's a great book. It's out of print, but sometimes you can find a used copy. And she also, if you go to her website and poke around a little, you can find a course that she does with the same content. So I would recommend that. Okay, so what we're going to do today is explore how color bias affects how your paints come out, whether they come out clean and bright or they come out muted or desaturated. So we've got this circle here. Do you guys all have your little circle ready to go?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. And so
I'm going to be watching.
Okay. What she says in the book is that while people talk about warm and cool colors, and that's a useful concept in art, it's not a useful concept to use in color mixing. And so that's why we talk about color bias. And if you look at the color wheel, so we've got yellow, blue, and red, and it's hard to get a perfectly pure yellow. So the yellows either tend to be kind of an orange yellow, or they tend to be a green yellow. And same with blue. Blue will have a bias towards green or a bias towards violet. So it'll be a greener blue or a redder blue. And red is either a more violet or purpley red or an orangey red. And so, and we're going to see how that affects color mixing. So I have my colors here. This is my orangey yellow. It's so orange that it almost looks orange, but it's really an orangey yellow. Don't know how to pronounce it. Diarylide yellow. And then I'm going to use a Hansa yellow light for my green yellow. And then in golden, they have phthalo blues that are in a red shade, which we'll be calling a violet blue, and a green shade. And then I'm using pyrrole red for my orange yellow and quinacridone red for my violet. Sorry, for my orange red, and quinacridone red for my violet red. What are you guys using?
I'm using CAD Deep for orange, yellow, and Hansa. And then on the blues, I'm using cerulean for the green blue and indigo for the violet blue. And on the reds, I'm using the alizarin crimson, alizarin, however you say that, and CAD red light.
Nice. And Linda?
So for the reds, I'm using vermilion for the orange red and rose red for the violet red. I'm using diorite yellow, just like you, for the orange yellow, and summer pear, which is an art to life color, for the green yellow. And then my green blue is turquoise, art to life turquoise, and my violet blue is Nova color cerulean. And the reason that I say that is because the Nova color goes to the purple, to the violet side, the cerulean, but I think golden goes the other way. So it's it depends on, because I tested it and it looks like that's how it's working out.
Awesome.
Okay. For the manufacturer, it does make a difference sometimes.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
How did you know that those yellows, those reds, those blues went towards violet, or went towards that other the bias?
So let's pretend that we magically knew and go through some exercises, because once we get through the exercises, then you'll be able to understand the test that you can do if you're not sure.
Okay,
good. Does that sound good? So right now it's magic. Okay, so I set up my palette so it looks kind of like the circle, and I'm just gonna squeeze out some of all the paints. If you haven't done that already, go right ahead. And I actually have a second palette ready because you have to be so fussy about, you know, keeping things separate. But I'll just start with this. So here go all my different paints. And then oops, I was about to do it wrong. Oh my God. Make sure I got that right.
What is it? No mistakes.
I think
there would be with this, right?
I'm going to be more careful because I have my second palette already, which now will be my, okay. So one is orange yellow, and just the numbers there's nothing magic about the numbers. It's just going to help us talk about what we're in the middle of doing. So number 3 is a green blue. I had these in the wrong order. Green blue. Number 4 is a red blue or a violet blue. Number 5 is a violet red. And number 6 is my orange red. Okay. And I'm going to squeeze out a little white because particularly like purple can be very dark. And so if you lighten it up with a little white, if you can't really see the color, that can be good. And I'm actually going to split up my white in the interest of trying to keep it clean, although that's very hard. So I'm making some separate piles of the white. Okay. So now, and Stephanie, this is going to start to help you understand how we'll figure out whether things are biased one way or the other. If we look at this slice of the pie here, where we've got a green, yellow, and a green, blue, inside this slice of the pie, there are only 3 colors. You have your yellow, you have blue, you have a little green in the blue, you have a little green in the yellow, and when we mix them, we're going to get green. So within this pie, there's only those 3 colors, yellow, which you mix with blue to get green. And even though the yellow and blue aren't pure, because it's hard to get that pure color, their impurity is your target color. So there's no other color like red or orange in there to mute or mess up or complement down the yellow and green. So, ladies, we are going to take a little, a bigger amount of your yellow. I'm gonna mix them on a little, and a little dab of the blue because it's not physical equal parts of the paint. You're just, it's just by eye for you to decide when you get a green.
So does it matter which yellow and which blue?
Yes, the green, yellow. So we're doing, so hold on. The way we can keep organized is in box A, we're going to mix color number 2 plus color number 3, which is a green, yellow, and a green, blue. Okay. So go ahead and do that. And you should have, can you see how that's a really pure, vibrant, bright green? Or you guys tell me if that's what you get. And so then I'm going to put this sample in that, I'm going to put a swatch of this sample in my box. I would recommend writing either a key or somewhere at the top which specific colors and brands from your collection you're using, because then you can just hang on to that information. I'm not going to do it because my little board here would get too messy. Oh, and I also, just while you're working on that, I recommend using palette knives or silicone scrapers or something, because you really need your tools to be perfectly clean every time you mix, and they're just easier. Or you can use 50 brushes if you feel like cleaning those. So what do you think, Stephanie? Does that look pretty bright to you?
Yeah, I think it looks pretty bright. I mean, I would say, just guessing, it goes towards the yellow. It's a yellow
Yes,
green.
and we're not doing a whole gradient to decide about the green leaning a little more blue or green, but you could totally gradient this out to see what the whole spectrum looks like. You could start with the blue on one side and that's in the book. I think that's an exercise in the book.
Okay.
So in other words, I didn't hit dead center, but for our purposes, that's not what I'm worried about. So does it make sense, Stephanie, that when we mix these in this slice of the pie, the only colors that are involved are yellow, blue, and green?
Yes.
Okay. So now we're going to get very adventuresome, and we're going to go outside the pie and mix our orange yellow with our violet blue. And the way you want to think about that, if you wanted to if there was such a thing as a pure yellow and you wanted to make it a little bit orangey, you'd add a little red to it, just a little speck of red. So what that means is this yellow doesn't really have any green in it, but it does have a little hint of red.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I don't know what that means if there's like a pure orange pigment and it's not really a mix of yellow and orange. Like, I don't know how that works, but conceptually it still works that you need a little red in there to get that orange. And same with the blue. If you're going towards violet or purple, to get blue to be violet or purple, you'd add a little red.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the key. That orange yellow and those violet blue contain the complement of green. And when you mix the complement of green with green, it dulls it down. So we don't have green yet, but when we make the yellow aspect of the yellow and blue paints are going to make green, but it's bringing along the red with it. And so just within that mix, it's going to dull itself down. So let's try it. So we're going to mix. So now in letterbox B, we're going to mix paint number 1 with paint number 4. And so again, more yellow than blue to get it to be halfway, because particularly I'm using phthalo blue, which is really powerful. So I'm just going to use a little dab of that. Clean off my palette knife here. Got a little dab of the phthalo blue. I'm starting mixing.
Ooh, the blue really took over.
Yeah, you need a lot of yellow compared to the blue. And so now, Stephanie, can you see how, and I'm talking to Stephanie both because she had the questions that inspired
Right.
to do this, and also you don't have your paints with you. So can you see how that's a dull olive color?
Yes.
So because of the red content of those two paints, that came in and muted down the green that we made with the yellow and blue.
So you used the phthalo blue that leaned towards red.
Correct. My violet blue is phthalo blue red shade. In golden, they name them. Other phthalo blues, you don't know until you try them.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to put a swatch of this guy here, and it's totally different. It's like completely olivey brown. How about you guys? How about Alice?
Absolutely olive. Baby, diaper brown.
Awesome. We're going to skip the last two. What I thought we would use those for is kind of the intermediate stage, for example, when you might mix an orange yellow with a green blue. So it's kind of half and half, and a green yellow with a violet blue. But let's just do the totally pure and the totally saturated around the wheel and see how our palette and our attention span is doing. Okay, so now we're going to mix the violet. So we want to mix a saturated color. Stephanie, you tell me how I'm going to do that.
I would add the cad red dark.
Which is your violet red.
I thought that was the pure red.
Oh, we're not, when we're doing these exercises, we don't want to do any pure colors. We definitely want them to have that bias.
To have their bias.
Okay. Well, I do the one color that I can kind of pick out, the alizarin crimson
Yeah,
is a red purple.
is a red purple. That's what you have,
Yeah.
Alice, right?
Yes.
Yes. So that would be our number 5. And then what are you going to mix that with?
Then we're going to mix it with a blue that is more blue-green.
No,
blue
we're
purple.
going to mix it with a blue violet.
Okay, so
Yeah, because we're staying inside the triangle, right?
Yeah. So actually, let
Okay.
me try this. I'm going to say that inside this triangle down here, we've got the only colors we're allowed are red, blue, and violet. Now this violet is going to sneak into the blue and it's going to sneak into the red, but nobody else, no greens.
how about a blue, golden cobalt?
Oh my gosh, I'm totally putting you on the spot. In her book, she just makes a little mention when she's going through it that cobalt is actually the rare color that she finds to be pretty bang on pure.
Oh.
So a turquoise would be, nope, that's yellow green. I mean, that's blue green.
How about ultramarine?
Ultramarine is typically thought of as violet blue.
Okay.
So you would mix ultramarine blue and alizarin crimson. That would be great. Okay. And I didn't do this before. We're naming these columns. You can call the purple or violet. So now we're going to mix. So those numbers are 4 and 5. So we're going to do 4 plus 5. You'll probably definitely need a little white in here because
it's so dark. I just did it without white.
Okay, so I'm doing 4 and 5. Let me get another. Oops. And Stephanie, just so you know what I'm doing as you're looking at it, I'm doing phthalo blue red shade plus quinacridone red, both from Golden.
Okay.
You can see if you just do it without the white, it's so dark you can hardly see it. Mix, mix, mix. I'm going to add a little white. A little more white so I can really see it. I really like mixing with paintbrushes better, particularly with the fluid paint.
Yes.
Okay. So how does that, let's get some more white in there. Needs a lot of white, I feel like.
Because isn't it true with color mixing, y'all, that if you put white to a color, you can usually see its characteristics better, especially if it's a dark color?
I feel like that's true. I don't know if it's just because it's dark or if it's really transparent. It kind of opacifies it.
I just know I've heard like Nick and different people say, put a little white in it and you'll be able to see the truer.
Yeah.
You'll be able to see the pigment easier.
Yeah. Okay.
Why
So
that
how does that look, Stephanie?
Yeah, that definitely looks like it's kind of looks like an ultramarine bright light.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and that probably indicates the purple bias of the ultramarine, I would guess. I haven't used it, but if it starts to even look purpley to you, because I'm sure that just contains ultramarine and white, titanium white.
Probably.
How about you guys, Alice and Linda? Are you getting a nice saturated purple?
I
I
am.
got a real deep purple with the indigo, and then I did another swatch with ultramarine and the alizarin, whatever, which is a little bit redder. So that's interesting, just to change the blue a notch.
You know, what would be interesting is if you post, like if you have your thing, if you post a picture of it, that would be fun.
Sure, sure.
Hey, putting you on the spot again, Stephanie, since you're not fussing with paint. If I want to make a
Okay.
desaturated purple, which color should I use?
Orange, orange, like a yellow orange, or yeah, yellow orange.
So what two colors make purple in general?
Red.
Blue and red.
So we need a blue and a red.
Yeah, and then to desaturate it, don't you go to the opposite?
You don't go to the opposite, you just go to the outside. So you're, instead of being in your little comfort zone here where all the only colors are red, blue, and violet inside
Okay.
the square of 5 and 6. So we just want to hop outside to our red that has a little orange and our blue that has a little green.
So to desaturate that, I would go with the red with orange,
Correct. And which green?
the green blue,
That's right. And
phthalo
again,
blue.
similarly, if you think about it, if you're going to make red orange, you'd add a little yellow. And if you're going to make blue green, you'd add a little yellow. And yellow is the complement of purple. So those two colors will be bringing yellow with them. And that's going to desaturate.
Desaturate. Because, yes. Okay, got it.
Okay, so now we're doing, so in our little F square, we're going to do 6 plus 3. And I'm really glad I numbered my palette, I gotta tell you. Okay. So
Okay, ding, 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 I got a mistake.
All right.
I kind of got a green color.
say again.
I kind of got a green color.
Oh, when you met, what are your two pigments?
Cerulean blue and cad light. Cad
Cerulean,
red light.
cad red light. So you said cad red light. So you said cad red light was a orangey.
Orange. Yeah.
And cerulean blue is a green blue.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
But it's not mixing right. Try another green blue that you have and see if it seems better.
And mine turned out almost spot on gray. I mean, gray with, tint. So
that's super desaturated.
Yeah, that's what we were trying. I mean, that was the perfect.
Green.
And that was funny because that was with the cerulean.
I think I have more red in mine right now, so I'm getting
I
a
might have used. No, I did the right colors. Yeah.
So let's put a little, I got it, mine's really brown. So I'm gonna add a little more blue, see if it grays out or what happens. But whatever it is, it's not saturated, that's for sure. Okay, got a little white in there.
So much yellow.
So that was 6 and 3.
Yeah, mine's losing the red. Oh yeah, mine is now looking really blue gray. I can see a little bit of the purple in there. Okay, see that one? Super gray.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, that looks like Payne's gray. That might be what Payne's gray is made from.
Payne's gray, I think, is ultramarine blue, which is a violet blue, and burnt umber, I think.
Oh.
And burnt umber is, I definitely think of it as reddish, so maybe it's kind of an orangey red. Okay, so that guy's really gray. Oh, I can see the problem of mixing over my little board here. It's getting splattered. Okay. Okay, cool. You guys ready?
Yep.
I believe so.
On to the next one. So now we're going to mix orange. So Stephanie, to get a saturated orange, actually, let's talk about this for a sec. So in this third of the pie, we've only got 3 colors. What are the 3 colors that are between color 6 and color 1?
Yellow, orange, and red.
You got it. So we've got yellow, orange, and red. So, so the yellow is bringing along yellow to the party and also some orange. The red is bringing along red and orange. And so when we mix, we should get a bright orange.
I gotta get some more paint out.
Oops. Okay, so no, that's my orange. So I'm going to use, so this is going to be numbers 1 and 6.
Ooh, I got a really bright orange. It's pretty.
And here, just like with some of the others, you probably want a lot more yellow than red. Speck of red, so I'm starting with that much. It's probably even too much red. Yeah, need more yellow. Although I don't, this is a nice pumpkin yellow, but I'm gonna add a little more yellow.
Pretty. I like that color.
Oops, I already added more yellow. So this is, yeah. Yeah, this is nice. How about you, Alice?
Yeah, I got really orange. Cad red light is pretty orange to start with. So then I added the cad yellow deep and got really bright.
Nice. Okay, let's put this guy out. Oh, you know what I did not do, which you can do totally, Stephanie, is put your pure colors along the color wheel. So you have your, and if this is intriguing to you, you can imagine that you could recreate this with, like, if you're very planny about your colors, like if you're going to attack a painting and you want a particular palette, you could do this with a variety of your colors, so you would know and have control over what they were going to look like when you mix them with an eye towards this. Okay,
Yeah.
Stephanie, for our desaturated, what are we going to mix?
Okay, so you made a yellow orange and a red yellow. So you're going to go to the other side and do one of the blues. So that looks more like a red orange. So you would use a green blue.
So we're going to, actually what we're going to do here is when we go to the desaturated, we just hop over the fence to our, because we still need to mix in a yellow and a red to get orange. So
okay.
So 2 and 6. So the big player in those 2 colors are yellow and red. But because this guy, to make if you put a little green in there, you're going to be headed towards green. And if you put violet, this one isn't as clear, but if you're, hang on, I'm thinking about this. Oh, I got it. So if you're putting violet in, you're kind of headed towards blue, which mixed with the yellow kind of makes green. The point being that, hang on, no, I'm thinking about this, orange, purple. This is a little different. Why is this different? So the opposite of,
do you think the orange leans towards red or do you think it leans towards yellow?
the one that I've got here?
Yeah.
That isn't actually super important. It's between red and yellow. And again, you could spectrum it out. You could do a gradation to see that. I've stepped in the mud with the concept of this. So let me think about this for a second. So that yeah.
Let me just ask a question if I've got this right. It might help.
Yeah.
So when you jump over the fence,
yeah,
to your violet red,
yeah,
and to your most green yellow.
Yeah. I think I've retrieved
you're it. You're using complements because you're using red and green.
That could be part of it. So you've got some green in there, but I think the way to think about it, I got it, is that if you want red to become purple, right, you'd add a little blue, and blue is the complement of orange. And if you want yellow to become green, you'd add a little blue, and blue is the complement of orange. So you're mixing of the green and the blue that's making the violet get more, or the red get more violet. You've got some blue in there, but you're probably also right because you've got green and red. They're also complementing each other. What else do we have? We've also got purple and yellow. So maybe it's that as soon as you jump over the fence, you've got all the complement pairs.
You're in a complementary world.
Yeah, that's good. Okay, so for this, we're doing number 5, which is violet red, plus number 2, which is a green yellow. Yeah, maybe all the pairs of complements get in there. I'll have to think about that one. So 2.
It's funny how our brains work different, isn't it? And 2, yeah.
Mine is still pretty bright, actually. How about you guys? I guess it's a little burnt orange. I'm gonna add a little more red.
Mine's pretty dull.
Yours is pretty
kind
dull.
of a
Which 2 colors did
coral, sort of dark coral sort of color, maybe.
That's more of this green. How about you, Linda?
Well, I think when I picked my green yellow, I think it has a lot more green in it than I realized. So it has almost no yellow in it.
Yeah.
So my colors, when I'm using the green yellow, my colors are coming out different. Like mine does not look orange at all. It looks dusty pink.
Oh, interesting. Dusty pink.
Now, isn't that weird? So let me make sure I did it right. I did.
So mine is a hint of burnt, but I'm guessing that means that my green yellow doesn't actually have a ton of green, and my violet red probably doesn't have a ton of red. It's a little muted, but I'd have trouble.
The pinky color that I have, I mean, it's probably somewhere between a pink and an orange, but it's very desaturated.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a pure color at all.
Okay. Do you want to try going back around and doing half in and half out?
Half in and half out.
I'll take that as a yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure what you meant by that.
Oh, okay. Fair enough. So what I mean is, so before, like if we look at the yellows, it's starting to get a little out of control here. Okay, when we look at the yellows, before we did, or when we're trying to mix green, we mixed either both inside the circle, the green yellow and the green blue, or both outside the circle. So you get your most exaggerated, saturated and saturated colors. But now let's try one out and one in.
Oh, got it.
Okay, because you're playing with your colors and seeing what's the variety of colors that you can mix together. So let's start with 1, which is an orange yellow, plus 3, which is a green blue. So we've got some blue in there, but we're bringing some orange in. That's a complementary pair. We're not making any purple. Maybe you could say we're making purple because the orange brings a little red in, and maybe that'll complement with the yellow. So we'll see what we get. So 1 and 3. So my orange yellow. Yeah, this
Oh,
orange yellow and my green blue. Well,
that's pretty.
so Stephanie, did that make sense that this isn't going to get us a saturated color, but it'll probably be different than box B?
Yeah.
So 1 in and 1 out. Have a little white. That's a nice one. I did add some white, so it's got that kind of white effect. How about you guys? What is it? Mine actually looks pretty blue, but desaturated blue-green. Oops, you know what? I labeled this column as yellow. I should have labeled it as green. I'm just realizing. So see that one, Steph?
Yeah.
So,
So that was an orange yellow
Yeah,
with a green blue.
correct.
Okay.
So the orange brought in the problems that made it not a pure green. But that's a gorgeous green. I really like that one.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put that in my memory bank, hopefully. How about you guys?
I'm mixing it again to see. Yeah,
Mine came out very green. Well, no, it's a little dull. I'm wondering if my cerulean, I'm wondering about my cerulean, whether it's really greenish or whether it's more kind of on the border.
Okay.
Because when I mix with it, I seem to be getting things greener than.
Then you would have thought.
Yeah, I don't know what I'm
Let's do a
thinking.
test. Let's
Yeah, I
take
did it. So I did one. I did a orangey yellow with a different green blue, a phthalo blue, which I know is greenish, and I definitely got more of a green. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I switched out the cerulean with a phthalo and tried again.
So I have this one called cyan primary. So I'm assuming that they're trying to get it right on. And so I want to see if I can decide. Stephanie, any idea how I would test whether this was a violet blue or a green blue?
What is it? Primary cyan?
Yep.
I don't know, maybe put it next to the yellow or the red.
We're actually going to do it with a mix. So if this is a green blue, if I mix it with a green yellow, should it be saturated or dull?
Saturated.
Saturated. So let's mix it with a green yellow and see what happens.
Okay.
And if it comes out desaturated, then you know it's the other way, right?
And then you know it's the other way, or you could test it.
Okay.
See what you thought. Okay, so here we go. So I'm mixing it with some green yellow here. I'm just going to take a tiny speck. Okay, I'm running out of. So okay, so I'm going to take a tiny speck of the blue, mix it with this yellow. Man, that is pretty bright.
Pull it up some. Yeah, there you go. Yep.
So that's super bright. So that makes me think that it's a green blue. But if it's a violet blue, let's mix it with a violet red and see if I get a really saturated purple. It could be that it's a good primary, in which case it'll go either ways, but that would be interesting to see too. So let's mix it with a violet red, or let me think. No, orange yellow won't help. Yep, I'm going to mix it with my violet red. This could have been, yeah. I wonder if it'll be right in the middle, and so I'll get saturated either way. So here goes the blue.
And what's the blue again? I'm sorry.
Primary, golden primary cyan.
Primary.
I think this is pretty. I think this is actually looking desaturated. So I'm gonna mix in a little white so we can see that. I have probably too much white, so I'm mixing in the white now.
See, I was going to say I thought it was pretty saturated.
Yeah, I think it is coming out pretty saturated. So that
means it's in the middle, doesn't it?
It means it's pretty in the middle. I might call this a little desaturated, but I don't know.
Well, it's desaturated for sure now that you put the white in, but the color itself is pretty.
Yeah, it could be pretty close to the middle. And maybe they did it, maybe that's how they test their pigments, you know?
Yeah.
We may have to replace the iron.
Let's try a more obvious one that we're pretty sure goes one way or the other. I'm gonna try let's try some ultramarine blue. The same way. Okay. Uh-oh, this might almost. Okay, I'm going to try a little ultramarine blue. So once again, I'm going to mix it with the yellow green. So I'm mixing ultramarine blue and yellow green. What do you think?
Now that looks kind of desaturated to me.
Yeah, it's a little dull compared to that guy. It's a pretty color. I mean, I'd be tempted to call it saturated, but it's a little desaturated. So now let's try it with the purple.
Okay.
We'll see how it looks with the red. So I'm getting the thing again where this looks kind of browny to me. But I think when I put in the white, it'll brighten up. I think it needs a little more blue. So Stephanie, what do you think of this as a way to test these colors?
Oh, you're muted.
I'm muted? Oh, Stephanie's muted.
Yeah, Stephanie's muted.
That's too bad because I said something brilliant.
Did you really?
I said it's a good way to test it. It's just you really have to keep the original color in your head, whether or not it leans towards this side or that side.
Meaning you have to know which ways your colors lean?
Yes, exactly. And I'm finding it pretty easy on the yellows.
Yep.
But the reds and the blues, I'm not finding it as easy.
So what I would recommend then is as you do the work to figure it out,
yeah,
yourself a chart of your colors that you have in your.
Yeah.
Yep. What do you think? Pretty saturated for the purple?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be, so
Yeah, it is.
it is. And the
Pretty
green is
color.
a little off.
And the green is really saturated,
It's supposed
isn't
to
it?
be.
Is it supposed to be desaturated?
Yeah, compared to that guy,
Well, yeah, it is.
it's slightly
It is.
off. It's slightly olivey. It's not insane.
No, it is. You're right. It's just not as olive as the other one. But then that would be right because you only used one
Outside.
outside the pie.
Let's see. Did we so I did so that was supposedly a violet blue and a green yellow. Yes. So that's half and half. Oh, actually I can put this in D here with 2 and 4. So I'll put that there. Oh, that's good. That'll save us a little.
So that's 2 and 4.
So for me, that was 2 and 4. Yeah, and if you look at the scale here, oops, let's move this up a little.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to see, but this isn't as saturated as the top one. Okay, let's just do these last 4 and then we'll be done. Okay, so now for purple. Okay, Stephanie, we're going to do 1 in and 1 out. What should we do next?
For the purple, we're gonna do a red violet,
a red violet,
and a green blue or a yellow orange.
That's it, a green blue. Because we need the red and the blue to make violet, and then we're going to have some violet. So that's not causing problems, but then the green is going to cause problems.
Red.
So that's going to be 5 plus 3. So we're doing a 5. Okay. Okay, 5 plus a 3.
I guess it also would, like how saturated it is, would depend on how much of that other color you used.
Oh yeah, so you're going on a gradient from blue to red. Yeah, I bet that's interesting. I bet if you did a gradient with these colors, you'll have a gradient from green through purple to red, but it may well look less saturated on the blue side of the middle.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That is a good. Now this does not look insanely desaturated to me. How about you guys?
Yeah, mine is.
Yours is?
Yeah. Not terribly, but it is.
Yeah, I guess it's not as vivid as the top one. My top one is drying a little on the blue side. It probably needed a little more red. Okay. And what's our last purple, Stephanie?
That would be the blue, no, the red. Wait a minute, let me think. The red, yellow with the blue, green.
That was this one. That was 6 and 3. So those were both outside the pie.
Okay. So you need the red, yellow with the green yellow.
Nope, we went 1 in and out. So so purely saturated would be 5 and 4, where we've got a violet red and a violet blue. We already did the violet red, so we're going to hop out to the orange red.
Orange red.
Outside. And then for our blue, we'll be inside with the violet blue.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to do, so this is going to be
violet blue and orange red.
6 plus 3. And Stephanie, are you writing down these numbers that we're putting in the different squares?
I am.
Good.
I am, definitely.
So
we already did 6 and 3.
What?
6 and 3 is in F.
Sorry, 6 and 4.
Okay, got it.
Okay, 6 and 4. My bad. Okay, 6 and 4. So this is actually, it's actually the numbers and stuff are really helping me as as my brain is getting full up. It is helping to have the numbers.
Yes, it is.
Okay, 6 and 4. White in here. Ooh, that's a nice stormy gray. I really like this one. How about you guys?
I got sort of an elephant gray, I would say.
Elephant gray. Now
You
I'm
know, a
thinking
little bit purpley.
little purpley
That's a
brown.
good name for a color.
It is,
Nail
isn't it?
polish.
You could tell you that would sell like hotcakes. Okay, here's mine. Yeah, that's another nice one. Like that one. Ruby. Okay. Last two. Okay, Stephanie, we're gonna make an orange. Half in the pie and half out of the pie. What two colors should we mix?
Okay, so orange, red, and
Orange,
green,
red.
yellow.
Very good. 2 + 6. Let's do it. Orange, red. I'll start with green, yellow because I need a ton of that. That's pretty. Again, not super obviously desaturated, but kind of a pumpkin-y, a little more natural.
Yeah, that's what I would say with mine too.
Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Ready for the next one?
Yes.
Okay, Stephanie, what's our last color, which is orange? One inside, one outside.
So how about the orange, yellow
Yeah.
with the violet, red?
Yep. So it's going to be
Okay.
1 + 5. Oh, I think I've got some of that. The 5 is the violet red. I got some of that. So we need the orange yellow. Need more of that. You know, I'm really enjoying doing this because I always hate the oranges that I like have trouble finding oranges that I like, but I like all of these.
Yeah, they're really pretty.
They're super pretty. They're not as startling as like cat orange somehow.
Right.
Yeah, it's funny. Okay, so what can I tell for sure is desaturated? I can tell that these two middle greens are desaturated for sure. I can tell that F and H are desaturated for sure. And maybe,
I think G looks desaturated.
yeah. It's funny. Yeah. Yeah. Looks a little brighter on my palette than it looks on the camera, but and there we go. That's all I have. Do you guys have any questions?
Very cool.
Was that
It's
helpful?
really,
Very.
Absolutely.
yeah, and it just opens up for me, it just opens up a whole nother range of possibilities, and then just the understanding of
Why it's happening
why you're mixing something that looks muddy when you're not trying
Yeah.
to.
when you're not trying to. Yeah. Yeah.
That happens to me more often than not.
Okay, well, I guess that's it for the recording. So I'm going to stop the recording.